Rams fans, welcome in. Tuna and the Sheriff. I am one half of that. I am the Sheriff. Tuna will be talking with us just briefly, but we are there, dude. We've got our initial 53, emphasis on the initial 53, as changes could absolutely be happening. But the Rams making big cuts. We have many names to discuss, not just names who were cut, but names who are sticking around. And then, of course, names that may be sticking around via the practice squad. And I just tweeted it out, but on the Between the Horns that dropped yesterday, JB and the crew were talking about a new name for the practice squad because that's not great. So I've got my idea of what I would call this practice squad when it comes specifically to the Rams. But that being said, I think it's time to bring in second half of this, the better half, Tuna. You're muted right now, Tuna, but how you doing?
West Coast, best coast, baby. Traffic is gonna pick up in LA. It's probably gonna be in the 80s. Probably hotter than this coffee. My coffee went cold already. Good morning, everyone. How we living?
The only way I know how to, dude, large. So that's good news. I don't know if you caught this yesterday, the Between the Horns, and JB was talking about, it's like, oh man, we got to think of a better name than practice squad. It just doesn't seem good for like the Rams. It seems like kind of whatever. So I've got my name. I just tweeted it out. I want to bounce it off of your brain and see what you're thinking here.
Ooh,
I think that the Rams practice squad, Iron Squad, dude. It's too easy. Iron sharpens iron. We need that all week long to get the 53 and the 48 ready to battle, man. I'm thinking Iron Squad. How you feeling?
Iron Squad. That sounds like a Iron Legion. It sounds like a bunch of Spartan warriors getting ready. Like, hey, just because you're not in the initial like spearhead of the attack, you stay ready. I was thinking of the Stay Ready group. I mean, that's a good one too.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, it's just one of those where they mentioned also that 21 season there was 71 total participants on the Rams roster that season. So it's like, hey man, just because you're on the practice squad, that don't mean nothing. Like that could mean in week 8 and on, you're on the team. You know what I mean? So I mean,
Yeah.
Danny,
JB Long is great at putting things in perspective like that, man. Like it's things you don't think about that he sees because he's there, like kind of lurking behind the scenes, watching everything, commentating on games, obviously.
mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. That was really good perspective that you never know. Like when your number gets called, there's a few guys on this roster right now that were on that Stay Ready squad or the Iron Squad the last 2 seasons, and now they're on the starting roster. Yeah, as you were.
All right, man. Good stuff. I think that like obviously we got cuts, dude. We're down to 53. I am one of those people, and you'll see that tonight on the Ram Showcase episode, that I'm very much like, yeah, like I don't want to ignore the guys that we cut or anything like that, but it's players come and go. Rams are forever. I'm more worried about the 53, the guys who are staying, than the guys that are no longer gonna be participants of this squad. Like I don't wish anything ill on them. I hope them all the best and stuff like that. But I'm way more like, these are our guys. So like these are the 53. And I realize there's some names out there that people aren't happy about getting cut. But simple fact is, man, if we want what I feel like we all want, which is the Rams to just destroy souls this year and keep playing all the way through February, and add into some hardware, man, then it doesn't matter who those names are. The 53 that we have are guys that we want to do well, right? So everybody who made the squad, I've got their back. I'm rooting for them. And there's definitely some guys that I liked that, I wouldn't have been mad if they were sticking around, but now they're not, man. So obviously we have a few big names to kind of discuss. As far as the cuts go, what were some of the names that jumped out to you the most?
I mean, no one at all is talking about that inside linebacker position. No one really had any qualms or questions about that whatsoever in the Rams Twitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'll touch on that. Let's not beat a dead horse. Pupal cut. That was actually a huge surprise. That rumor started going around the other night.
Yeah.
And shout out to Draft Diamonds for tweeting at me that my tweet did not go over well. When I first saw it, I quote tweeted it and I said, yeah, and my date with Sydney Sweeney is real as well.
Yeah.
Turns out I don't know what reality is, so I need to get in contact with Sydney Sweeney's agent because apparently we have a date at some point, probably.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I will tell Rams fans though, like I am not gonna sit here and tell you one person's better than the other because I'm not a coach. But the Rams have won a Super Bowl with Troy Reader at inside linebacker, so it's hard to really say, hey, you can't win games just because you feel this way about a player.
Yeah,
Um, one that did stand out to me though, besides that inside linebacker position, was Darion Kendrick. That's your guy. That's a my guy for you.
totally.
I didn't see it. I thought it was surprising to see him in a preseason game deep in week 3. I thought his experience, the same way they're talking about Troy Reader, I thought it'd be experience over potential because you know what you're getting on a DK. Maybe that injury changed him a little bit. I don't know. And then I thought, like, oh yeah, like that's a great piece on the practice squad. He probably really likes it here. He's come back with that altered contract in the offseason. Well, then Emmanuel Forbes says, "Hey, I'm potentially switching to jersey number 1." So I don't know
I don't know if
what's
that's
going on.
necessarily an indicator, honestly. I think that like the indicator of Sean McVay saying the way he said that he wishes Poop all the best made it feel like he's not coming back. That's just kind of reading between the lines and watching Sean McVay speak for 9 years. But I'm not sure if a guy who's completely expected to participate heavily this year, and Emmanuel Forbes switching his number to a number that's now vacated. I don't know if that's necessarily enough for me to be like, oh yeah, DK's for sure not coming back to the practice squad. I don't know. So, but you're absolutely right about the inside linebacker room, man. Especially your comments there on Troy Reader. I think that ultimately what people are forgetting is that we need to have some kind of veteran leadership, not in the inside linebacker room. We've got Landman for that right now on special teams. He is
Yeah,
that guy on the return squad on special teams. He is the one kind of being there on field goal block and stuff like that. He is that vet in that realm. So that makes total sense. Sean Dolak, I think, just straight up outplayed Poop Hall, especially in the preseason game specifically. I'm sure there's other aspects of that decision that happened, but I think I mentioned that last week that it was like, dude, Dolak's playing better than Pooh. So, but I just figured that Pooh would still stick around. I figured it was going to be a developmental thing. He was a 5th-round pick. I thought that was kind of just an understood thing. They
yeah,
saw something they didn't want, and then DK. There was something about DK where like playing late in those games where I was kind of like, I don't know if he's sticking around. Like I like him, whatever, but also in a situation where he was named a starter not that long ago, and now he's playing against, you know, like Brown's 3rd-string quarterbacks is like, and still not making those plays. Like you should at that level. I think that if you're in there with a bunch of threes on your squad and the other squad, as a start, you should shine. You know what I mean? Like there should be a clear cut, like, holy crap, that guy's different than everybody else out here right now. And we weren't seeing that from DK. So actually that cut, as much as like I'm a DK guy and stuff like that, I think that there's something more to that injury. I think that there's more there. Probably a mental aspect of that injury that is that's kind of creeping in. But I mean, I expected and was kind of thinking that it's like, oh, at any moment he's going to show why he was at one point named a starter, and he didn't in those preseason games. He just looked like a regular dude out there. So it's as much as I want to feel surprised, I'm really not, and I'm not really surprised at any decision. I'll be completely honest. I think that the final 53 makes perfect sense. I see it, and you could look at the cuts and you're like, oh, that name, that name, that name, that name. But then you look at the final 53 and you're like, oh yeah, this is a good roster though. Like we're looking fine. So that's where I'm at.
there's so much to say that I kind of took notes on yesterday, just kind of going throughout the roster day cuts and seeing things people were saying online.
Yeah.
Someone asked a really good question, and I'm going to get to that in a second. I got to pull up his name again so that I can give it some credit because it was a really good question. Like I was happy to talk about it. The thing with DK and that DB room in general, this kind of bleeds in with the inside linebackers as well. My short time at camp, I kept noticing, and one thing I kept note taking, especially with that DB room, is it didn't look like there was one guy that was like, oh yeah, he's the starter, and then there's the rest of everybody else. And
Hmm.
I meant that positively.
Yeah.
And now with what McVay is saying, I think Shula mentioned as well that it feels like they have 4 starting corners. And I said this really early on that they're going to rotate corners, I think, on a weekly basis. We're
Hmm.
used to running back by committee that screws up people's fantasy teams,
Hmm.
where it's going to be DB by committee. You've got Durant, who's sometimes looks like a slot guy. He's really good on the small, quick guys. play surprisingly physical for his size. He
Mhm.
might match up better with certain people. Then you got big bodied Akello, like, hey, throw him on a Justin Jefferson. Emmanuel Forbes is now like Spider-Man, like literally put him in a Spider-Man outfit and he's like agile and like all over the place without committing penalties. That's good against physical guys as well. With the inside linebacker position, it really just came down to special teams, like McVay said in his post-practice press conference, and
Yeah.
not so much the tackling aspect. Shout out to Jim Youngblood on Twitter again. He posted a few clips of Pooh Paul blocking and not doing well. He missed guys. He took bad angles. It was the blocking aspect of it. And again, these margins are razor thin. And if you want to dive into individual grades on guys on a play-by-play basis, it could have come down to, hey, Reader beat you out on special teams on 2 plays, on 3 plays. So we're going with that. That speaks to the depth of the team. Like, I do think that is real. And before I jump into that question that this guy hit me with, I spoke briefly with Brock Vieira of Sports Illustrated. Go check out his work. He's new on the beat for SI on the Rams. And I know a lot of people have feelings about certain outlets here and there. Brock really cares about what he writes and puts out. I got a lot of respect for him. I've read some of his pieces since meeting him at camp.
We need that.
He cares.
We need that at that publication, so that's good.
Yeah, no clickbait stuff. I really like his work. Good. And shout out to John P. on Instagram. He asked me a question about practice squad. So now we're at a point, right? Like, what happens after 53-man, like, roster cut down day? There's 17 guys the Rams are going to designate on practice squad. 4 get protected. John P. asked me, is it beneficial to a player, 1, to be on the practice squad, and 2, to be protected, like locked in, like the team doesn't want to lose you? And it depends. And I think we have 2 really good examples of it being positive and negative. First one being Xavier Smith. I can't remember if he was protected or not, but through his 2 years of being here with the Rams, he was a developmental player. Like, he has a lot of raw talent, but he didn't have as much experience as other guys in college. And he played at a smaller school at HBCU. So him being protected, him being on practice squad, allowed to develop and not have to worry about changing systems, changing homes, and all these other distractions. Now he's on the starting roster in year 3. Like, and he's going to play an important role as wide receiver 4 or 5 or whatever it is. So that in that case, it helps. Let's look at Pooh Paul. People are saying, like, oh, hey, is he going to be on a practice squad? Outside of McVay's comments, if a guy feels like he's ready to play, he probably is talking with the coaches like, don't put me on practice squad. Don't protect me despite how you feel. Maybe you want to develop me, and because I am a 5th round pick.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to go test the market elsewhere. So if the Rams were, let's say, assholes and didn't care about what he wanted, they would keep him on the practice squad. They would protect him and not allow him to go elsewhere. In this case, it's a negative thing. You're kind of withholding the capability of a player to go test the market. So it can be good on bad depending on the situation.
I don't know what it is too. I mentioned this yesterday in one of my group chats that there's something about Pooh Paul and just him as a person, him as a player, all that stuff. I don't know what it is, man. I can just see him in a Ravens uniform. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. That's just where my heart's like, oh yeah, he just goes to Baltimore, right? I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But
better than going. Somebody hit me with a text yesterday. You know who you are, saying that there's a reality that he goes and learns behind Fred Warner in San Francisco. I'm like, oh, that's a great thing to think about.
You know what, though? I mean, the way that he dropped to the 5th round, everybody said 2nd round talent. He drops to the 5th round, and then it gets cut by the Rams in favor of a UDFA in Sean Dolak. I think there's something to it. I don't know. It's not like we're not just the Rams coaching staff and everybody isn't just blind to something about Pooh Paul. There was something there of like why he dropped in the draft, and then why the Rams decided, yeah, we're good. So there's something to it, man. And not to trash anybody. That's not my intention here. I wish Pooh Paul all the best, obviously. I was excited for him. But there's clearly information that we as fans do not have in the situation.
Yeah, and I'm one that does not put a lot of stock in draft capital outside of what you can leverage with it in trades.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're a 2nd rounder or 5th rounder. That
doesn't
here.
And they both
doesn't mean how good you are.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean how good you are.
They both showed up as rookies. That's it. It doesn't matter. It's like you were 5th round pick and you were undrafted, so we're going to go ahead and keep this guy. It's like, no. this guy fits better with us. It doesn't matter. And it's like, I think I told you that. It was like, we can just pretend that we took Dolak in the 5th round instead. Doesn't matter. We kept us 6 rookies. One of them's an inside linebacker that was a UDFA, and we dropped an inside linebacker who was drafted. We can just pretend that pick was was Sean Brolak. It's fine, man. So, speaking of guys that did not make it though, Lampkin along the offensive line, Willie. A lot of fans are kind of upset about this one. I think that this, based on our conversation, stuff like that, I mean, this was totally expected move. He's hurt. I fully anticipate that he clears waivers and stuff. I don't understand the outrage. I think that everybody's
he's a third center. Like they're not gonna. Are you taking him over? Oh my God, I'm drawing over Limmer.
No.
You're not taking him over Bo Limmer.
No.
It's you want him to develop him. You see the raw talent. It's exciting. He should be practice squad. That's exactly what practice squad is for. Okay, let him learn. If he wants to be here, he'll be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Danny, I'm not trying to ignore you here. As far as your question on college quarterbacks, I'll touch on that right at the end here because I want to kind of talk about this year's 53. Speaking of this year's 53, I think that we did get some hints as far as what the Rams offense is going to want to try to do just based on our numbers. We saw 6 wide receivers stay. That makes total sense. Just 3 running backs stay. Schrader and Rivers both getting the axe there. But 4 tight ends sticking around. We have more tight ends than we have running backs, and I think that kind of tells you a little bit about what the Rams could potentially be looking at when it comes to personnel. They talked about it again on Between the Horns that we could absolutely see some like 11, 12 personnel and stuff like that with Ferguson in the slot. He performed like he was taking so many reps out of there in that final preseason game that we could still see that come in. So that's good news that obviously, I mean, we're built for it. Davis Allen, a lot of really positive comments coming about Davis Allen. Obviously, we know Terrence Ferguson and what he's potentially going to bring to this team. We know Higbee. Second he returned last year, the group got markedly better. I mean, you could feel it right away. And then Colby Parkinson, who we do hope comes in year 2 to the Rams offense and has more of what we kind of expected to see out of Colby Parkinson. So. But no reason to think that he won't now with a full off season and kind of knowing, and also now just being a piece, doesn't need to come in and be our starter because Higbee was obviously hurt most of the year. So that's good news there. 10 offensive linemen. I think that is it makes sense. Obviously, you get a backup for everywhere, but I think that this list is really solid. We got some really good guys there, especially get that question mark with AJ Jackson entering the year. Potentially will miss time, so to have some depth there is solid. But is there anything else that kind of jumped out to you? Outside linebacker is one for me. That just some interesting okay, I see what we're doing. This will be okay. So what are you feeling, man?
I was very surprised Matthew Stafford. That's a really old guy. Surprised he made the roster. It's cool. It's cool to see guys that
he's gonna start. He might start.
Hey man, the AARP discount picking at the right time for the old guy. Not that he's only 3 years older than me, but this name right here, that guy, number 19. Can we take a moment to give a round of applause for Xavier Smith? Honestly, great story. I'm very biased because that guy was one of the first guests on my podcast 2 off seasons ago as a rookie. But it's a great story. Like if you want those stories on your team of a guy who went to HBCU, FAMU is very small. The dude left an Amazon warehouse to get back into football on his mother's behest and made it as a UDFA, worked through special teams for 2 seasons, and it now opens 2025 on the starting roster. These are the same way everyone's talking about Sean Dolak. People have forgotten Xavier Smith's story. Incredible. Looks really good at camp, and I'm confident, strong now seeing the starting wide receiver group. This is the best wide receiver room in the NFL. I do not care what anybody says, top to bottom. It's very not just top heavy. If Konate Mumfield is your 6 and Xavier Smith is your 5, we know what Jordan Whittington can do at 4. This is strong. If we had to open the month hurt, knock on wood, the same way they did last year, where you're relying on your backup wide receivers, this is markedly less of a drop off than what they had to deal with last year. This group can still go out and help Stafford put up 300 yards if he had to win a game. Feel really, really good about that wide receiver group. And I'm going to be paying attention a lot to this group this year because I think they're going to do some really special things. So that was the biggest thing for me that stood out. That was awesome.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously such a good group there. I mentioned it already, kind of teased it. Outside linebacker. Just keeping the 4 is something I was at first I kind of like, it kind of jumped out to me like, oh, only four outside linebackers to rush the passer. But first of all, I mean, when you got V8 and BY out there, those guys are obviously absolute killers. Nick Hampton is a guy that I think he just gets better every single time I see him out there, which is really cool. Josiah Stewart, the rookie coming in, one of 6 rookies making the 53. I like that. I mean, he just seems like he just fits into that group real well. But the thing that made me kind of be like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes sense to only keep 4 is you look at that little section above that outside linebacker, that defensive line. There's a few names here. Desjuan Johnson and Laurel Murchison I'm looking at specifically, who if we absolutely had to, we could stand those guys up. I mean, they've played a lot of different areas on the line as Russian passers, stuff like that. Desjuan, I think, is kind of primed to be a guy that we talk a little bit more about this year than maybe some people expect. The way he's been performing in preseason, stuff like that, I think he's got a good shot to like kind of be a breakout alongside Forbes, who I think is like the number 1 breakout candidate. And then Merch as well, man. I think that he can be, especially in some like heavier packages, if we're trying to do that on like a 3rd and short or something like that. And we need an edge rusher that's a little bit more beefy. Then I think we've got the guys to do it. So keeping 4 outside linebackers, I do think makes sense based on the number or like the kind of guys who are in that defensive line group. I just love that group, dude. That DL group is absolutely sick, dude. Down to Tyler Davis. Like, I love that group, man. I'm so excited to see the quarterbacks just get absolutely murdered out here at the hands of these guys, man. I'm fired up for it.
I've heard a lot of good things from Desjuan Johnson. Very Dwight Freeney-esque. He had a spin move in preseason as well. It didn't work. It didn't work to the same success as Dwight Freeney, where it was like mind blowing. Yeah. The fact he's thrown it in an inside spin move to help pressure the quarterback. I was like, all right, dog. I see some sauce. I see some juice you got. Merch is kind of a fan favorite in the creator community. I know some of the guys that I forget which guy it is. I think it's Los King's Pins. Big Merch fan as well. He does like collabs with fans, which is really cool. But it's just so good, man. I think the first thing, when it stood out to me about the outside linebackers, I think this is a testament to Byron Young as well. Obviously, Nick Hampton looks sweet in jersey number 6. Like, that was one of the first things I noticed at camp. I was like, all right, that looks dope. I like it. But not keeping a 5th one, a big thing for Byron this year was increasing his stamina and his durability for himself to stay on the field, because he would get gassed sometimes. So that was a area of focus for him with the Pilates he was doing. So they feel confident in him. Like, they feel confident about their group to only keep 4. So
yeah, absolutely.
And people can't get held to the title because so many guys play in multiple spots. Like, this whole defense is very versatile, like with the cornerbacks and safeties. And that's why I had a hard time like doing a prediction. Yeah. Because Quentin Lake is technically a safety, but he plays star, which is a nickel cornerback. Yeah, that's why they only have 5 down there, and then same with like McCullough and everything. So yeah, that was interesting,
dude. It's cool too, man. And like again, I don't want to keep like just like I don't want to just rehash what Between the Horns was saying, but they kind of talked about it yesterday of like what are the most improved position groups, and they kind of went through every single group and kind of settled on I don't know if any position group on the entire roster got worse from last year. No. You look at wide receiver, I think that's an improvement. I think running back, you can just, adding Hunter, and then you get, K-Dub back another year for Corum. Experience alone, better. Quarterback experience alone, better. Specialist experience alone, better. Offensive line, more depth. I think better top end, especially with the the return of Coleman Shelton. I think your outside linebackers, I'm sure you lose a Hoyt, but now you get a year two, Jared Verse, who I think is going to be, I mean, he had 4 sacks last year. I feel like we see that by week 2. And then,
well, he was missing tackles at the first half of the season. Like, it's got to go up.
Yeah. And then, the safeties as well. Like, undrafted guy from last year, Jalen McCullough, Kinchin's coming in. I like, again, year 2. I think that this group is more experienced. You get Curl's second year as a Ram. I mean, there's nothing. And then, what was it? DFAR was talking about Akello. He said he's different this year. He's a different dude this year. It's like, yeah, he's been fine in the past, but this year it seems like the game is just slowed down. He's seeing it different. Despite his age, whatever, he is a different dude this year. And like, he was saying that he expects big things from Akello. So like, yeah, dude, front to back, top to bottom, man, this roster does look better than it did last year. And we had a damn good team last year, man. I'm fired up.
I'm telling you, it's I'm in the camp. It seems like a minority. There's a lot of people worried about the defensive back group.
Yeah.
But this isn't, we're not talking 7. If this is 7-on-7, like, you can say whatever you want on, like, on paper, if they have to go up against Justin Jefferson, like, he's going to, like, that's not how it works. Like, they went up against Justin Jefferson in the playoffs. How'd that work out?
Yeah. We murdered him.
Yeah, how that we played the Eagles with AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. Like, they didn't rip us apart. It was the run defense.
Yep.
And from all accounts, from what everyone's seen in the preseason,
Puna.
As a unit, it is markedly increased. Like, it was a point of emphasis. They went and attacked
and Puna. Those two.
Yeah, that's the center of the defense. Like, they fixed the core of the defense. Now on paper, it looks good, and we're all happy. And now they got to go prove it on the field. And I think that comes down to Shula. If he can coach as he did the second half of the year where he made those adjustments, this defense is going to be a top 10 defense. Cornerbacks are going to be a lot better than people think. I think you got to lay off on the low expectations there. There's going to be a lot more turnovers.
Absolutely agree. So with my emphasis on this being the initial 53, who on this screen right now do you think is not on the Rams active roster when Houston comes to town?
Man, I am still worried about Alaric Jackson. He's warming up. I kept getting that wrong. Sorry to Stu Jackson. I minced his words and misunderstood that. I thought he was starting this week, and then I thought he was ramping up, but that was the wrong words. He's on track to be potentially doing drills, like full team drills, Monday next week. So, I mean, that's a week before the game. If, let's say, he's not feeling well Monday, or his doctor says, can't go, that's Tuesday before a game. We're cutting it close to, hey, DJ Humphries, you're starting.
Yeah.
Which I don't feel bad about. I think there's a whole emphasis on keeping 4 tight ends. I think we do see a lot more 12 personnel. There's ways you can hide an offensive lineman with the run game. It is markedly easier for guys to step in and do that. So, yeah, that's the one that worries me. Alaric's health. I don't think he'll just be 100% ready to go week 1. I have no info on that. That's just kind of the feeling I'm getting from the reports coming out.
The next question, I don't have an answer for this, but if the Rams were to pick on from outside to try to add to the roster, what position do you think they would go with?
Oh, man.
I don't have an answer because I like this roster right now. This 53 is dope, dude. I don't know. I'm here for it.
It'd have to be – I would say corner, just out of if there's like one small injury, you want to keep the water level there. But if they go grab someone to be developmental, like I've got a piece on Stetson Bennett versus Anthony Richardson, nature versus nurture idea. It had to be someone that they want to put in stash to develop for later years. No one that's like popping for me to help this year immediately.
Yeah. Anthony Richardson's tired. Let him rest.
Yeah, man. Give him a year off.
Yeah, let him rest. He's all right. All right, we got to start bouncing out of here. But I do not want to avoid Dan's question here, who popped in. Said, are you guys going to keep an eye out for college quarterbacks this weekend? If so, who? I can start this and say no. Week 1 of college football, I'm very much just like, yeah, I'm just trying to watch, dude. I don't have like my scout cap on week 1 before even the Rams have started, because my focus is on 25 Rams, not 26 Rams. You know what I mean? So like we could go balls to the wall, win a ring this year. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like my brain's just fully in on 25 Rams. I don't care what we do after this, man. The goal is to win a bunch of football games this year. I also don't know if I can name you really any college quarterbacks. I know my team's quarterback, Texas A&M, Gig of Maggies. I know Marcel Reed's going to be out there running around and stuff like that, slinging the rock. So that's what I got for you. I like the kid. I think he's good. I think that this year's going to be a little bit better than last year for him. But that's all I've got as far as who I'm keeping my eyes on. But what about you, man? You got your scout cap on yet?
Well, that's the wrong answer. Everything that you just gave down to the Texas A&M. Did A&M keep the receipts from spending the most NIL money?
It's gonna pay
my biggest. I'm paying attention to the top two, not for the same reasons as other Rams fans. Arch Manning, man, I grew up watching his uncle. Like his uncle is one of the reasons why I am in love with football. And so now we get to watch a next generation with another Manning. Like it's really cool. I wish him the best. I just want to see him go. Like wherever he goes, I'm going to be a Manning fan for the love of the game. And the other one for Rams purposes, Lenora Sellers. I think Lenora Sellers is insanely dynamic. South Carolina's going to have a great South Carolina. He's going to have a great year. He's in the SEC. He's going to put a lot of good film on. And just again, imagining Sean McVay offense with the RPO.
Oh yeah. I it's not that I don't like get into like to like, oh, I like this player, I'd like him to be a Ram, stuff like that. It's just like I refuse to do research on 500 guys and then we get a draft class of 6. You know what I mean? I'm not that guy. So I don't know, man. I'm just here for like, hey, tell me who to root for, Les Snead. Got it. That's how I treat the draft and stuff like that. I don't try to tie myself to guys from college and get too crazy about it that way. I just wait. And also Rams #1, man. That's we're getting into a Rams season right now. That's my main focus. If I miss Texas A&M games, I ain't that worried about it. But I will not miss a second of Rams football. So
we are Jimmy Garoppolo days away from Rams football, everybody.
Woohoo! Tavon Austin days away. Let's go.
Oof.
Oh, you know damn well. What's going All right. I gotta go to work. What are we gonna list off here as we leave? We'll be back on Friday morning, by the way.
Breakfast cereals. Top breakfast cereals. Go.
Okay, #1 overall pick, Fruity Pebbles, no doubt.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's I thought I knew you. It's Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and there's no other.
Not though. After that, dude, I'm old and I don't care. Give me Raisin Bran. It's so delicious. I don't care what anybody says. It's so good, dude.
That's back-to-back weeks that you're hitting us with the Raisin Bran.
Right.
I'm pretty weird too. The frosted shredded wheat. Those are good.
Ooh, yeah, not really into those.
Those are good.
Give me Canadian Fruit Loops.
All right, let's just end. We're ending here.